Welcome to another podcast episode of How to Run Your Profitable Retreats. I am your host, Lainey Cavazos, and today we're deep diving into a piece of my masterclass sold out on profitable retreats. I have brought an expert to teach you how to sell like a woman, and I wanted to make this available for all of you who are avid listeners of this podcast. I hope you enjoy it. And if you want to join our next masterclass, you can find the link below to join our next date. Let's jump into this episode. So, I'm very happy and excited to bring to you our guest speaker for today, Christi Kendall. She is going to be talking about selling like a woman because there's a very specific energy that comes with that flow of selling where it does not feel icky. It does not feel pushy. It does not feel like convincing. So, Christi, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to spotlight you for everyone. And please join me welcoming Christi. And she's going to be talking about Sell Like a Woman. It's one of my favorite talks. And I like to bring her back on stage over and over because if we get to sell like a woman, guess what? Everything feels with ease. Conversions come easy. And we're not struggling get those clients to sign up for our retreats. Thank you, Christi.
Yes. Hi, ladies. It's so exciting to be here and see all of your faces. Some of you I recognize, and many of you are brand new. I would love for you to come on video and participate in this. This is the most important skill that you can have in your life, your business, your relationships, and everything else. If you can't sell, or if you feel icky when you're selling, you will not reach extraordinary. And I love what Lenny said about it being your responsibility. One of the things I talk about with sales is that it is highest level transformation. The moment of sale, you are not only holding yourself to highest level transformation, you are holding your client or potential client to highest level transformation. That is a lot of responsibility, but it's also a perspective that will help you with your leadership because I look at that and I see a powerful leadership moment. And I want you to put a yes in the chat if you love sales. That's the normal response. 2 or 3 people saying yes. Everybody else, put a yes in the chat if, when it comes to the sale, you get a little, you pull back a little, you hesitate, you kind of avoid it. Maybe when you say the price, you're worried if they can afford it or not. Yep, that's common with women. Maybe you discount yourself or you start convincing them, telling them your 46 modules, your 66 hours of service, and your this is and your that's, and your 49 ebooks. Yep. Well, women sell better than men. The data shows that women outperform men in sales every single time. And we do it because of our natural leadership, the things we naturally want to do, like connection, all the reasons that you're putting on your retreat. Those are the reasons that you naturally sell. All of these other things come from what you believe about yourself and money. And so, what we're going to talk about today, first of all, I want to talk about the retreat business. And how many of you, you can put a 1 in the chat so I can keep a difference between the ones and the yeses and the question. How many of you got a whoosh or a download on your retreat and you got really excited about it? And you're like, I'm doing this. How many of you, that's how you started with retreats? Lisa, yes. And so how many of you think that you have this incredibly genius idea and you know you can change lives and you think that you're going to share it and everybody's going to be as excited as you? How many of you? Everyone's just going to jump on board because of this great amazing experience that you're going to provide for them. Definitely thought that. Yep, Lisa, I have done retreats. I know what it feels like. That is the sell from inspiration mindset, right? The idea drops in, the vision feels alive, you can hardly bear it, and you see the transformation so clearly, and you feel that spark. Like when I share this, everyone is going to want to be there. And so you pour your whole heart into the transformation, into creating this amazing experience, the sessions, the breakthroughs, the identity shift that you know you're going to give them. But here's the part almost no retreat leader ever really thinks about, and that is selling. They assume that because the retreat is powerful, the vision is amazing, and because you care so deeply that women are just going to jump in. But most retreats do not sell out, as you've been discussing through this call. And it's definitely not because the retreat isn't good. It is because the retreat leader never learned how to sell it. So you're at a place here where you're being shown a system that can create ongoing retreats like a business. That's what this call is about. And that means that you have income potential that you don't have to guess, that it is a sure thing. Knowing how to sell brings it full circle. And that is why we partner and do this way, because we know that women are never going to be pushy. I mean, there are salespeople out there. There's one woman that we follow all the time and we love her so much, but she teaches pushy. And that it does work. It works for a lot of people, but it is masculine pressure. And most women in transformation will avoid that at all costs. And it doesn't sell better than selling like a woman from our natural leadership style. So we want to sell in a way that is aligned with how women actually make decisions and the way that retreat leaders naturally be, your natural embodiment of who you are. And once you learn how to sell like a woman, every single thing in your business, every course that you've ever bought, every system that you've ever established, everything will come full circle. Your impact, your income, and the women that you attract. So I'm going to show you what I mean. Have you ever walked into a room and the whole energy shifted? As if every single person, every eye on you was saying, she's the one. Have you ever shared your story and felt the whole room leaning in? Because something in them whispered, she's the one. That's what happens when you're selling from your superpower. And that is exactly what makes high ticket sales and six-figure retreats possible. So the retreat industry is a multi-billion-dollar market. And here's the part that most retreat leaders never fully realize. You only need the teeny tiniest fraction of 1%. That would literally be like 0.00008% to create a wildly profitable retreat business. And yet, less than 10% of retreats ever cross six figures. And it's not because retreats are not powerful. They are. We all know that. It is because no one taught retreat leaders how to sell. Less than 15% of retreat leaders ever turn their retreat into a six-figure revenue stream. And we know that's not because you don't have the goods. It's because of sales. Retreat leaders are brilliant at creating transformation. They create healing, breakthroughs, and moments that women and men remember forever. But over 80% struggle to turn their retreat into actual revenue. And it's not just a retreat problem. only 14% of women entrepreneurs actually ever cross six figures because no one taught us how to sell. And this matters more now than ever for you because there is a massive wealth transition happening, and we need to make sure it's in the right hands. And you create transformation, you create safety, and you create identity shifts. That's probably where that wealth needs to be transferred. But the part that actually creates revenue, the part that turns your retreat into a real business, that's sales. And sales is not luck. How many of you feel the connection to luck when you're selling or filling your retreats? If you notice that it is there, you think you're going to share it, or you hope that you can share it and people will get on board. And so I'm going to show you a skill that you need to have, but we're going to look at it from a different lens. And this is a skill that lets you lead, lets you earn, and you can grow unlimited anytime that you decide. And I'm going to share you just a little quick backstory of me and why I am here with you teaching you sales. My story is I too thought of sales and was like, I can't sell. I don't know how to sell. Nobody's going to buy anything from me. Some of that was that ick, and some of that was justifying myself and discount, all the things. And I turned that into an award-winning career in sales. But it started out, I was in school. I was working towards my master's in art therapy. And I love art therapy. I still use it in my retreats today. But there was something going on, that little undercurrent of uncomfort. I knew I wasn't in the right place. And one of my instructors shared a story, and she called it your moment of transformation. And she shared a story about this woman who was a single mom on welfare. She had 4 kids, and she had gone back to school. She was able to get back to school, and she had been in school, and she was right at the finish line of getting her degree. And that is when we all know, because you're all in transformation, that moment when you have to do the hard work. That's the identity shift that's happening. And it's really painful, and it's really uncomfortable, and it's really heavy, and it's really hard. That's what is the moment of transformation. I call that the ring of fire. She shared the story of this woman, and the woman didn't make it through her ring of fire. She quit school. She went back to her comfort zone of her life, of struggle, trying to raise her kids by herself and all of that. And I heard that story, and it resonated with me. And I knew all I had to do in that moment was get through that ring of fire. If I could get through that ring of fire, I would be on the other side of it. So that afternoon, I was on the phone and quickly enrolled in design school. And what had prevented me from design school for all those years was sales. I had taken a tour of the design school years before, and the instructor said, you have to be able to sell. If you can't sell, there's no project to design. You have no class or no clients. There's nothing to design. And I had a very fixed mindset and very low self-esteem at that time. I was very young. And I looked at that whole situation externally, like, nobody's going to buy anything from me. I don't know how to sell. And I looked at all the women that were there in that room, and women just like you. And I was like, they're so beautiful. They have everything. They must be lucky. They must have been born that way. Right? I had this mindset. And so I left completely defeated. And that moment of transformation, when I realized it was a ring of fire and I just had to get to the other side of it, landed me in design school. I was selling design jobs before I ever finished. My first weekend out in the industry after I finished design school, I outsold everyone in the Portland market. I had these corporate offices calling, who is this woman? I proceeded to break income revenue awards. The average designer at that time. It's still similar. It was $30,000 a year was the average starting income of an interior designer. I hit six figures my first year. I went on that year to win a national sales award of over 2,000 sales reps, top 7% nationwide. I was in a male dominated aspect of this industry. But here's the thing, even though I did that, I still thought I was running on luck. Every single job, every single sales call, every conversation, if I heard a no, I immediately questioned if my luck was running out. Is this it? Is this the end? And you will hear no's. You will hear a lot of no's in business and in sales, a lot of no's. And so it was emotionally disruptive for me to have this belief that I was running on luck because nobody ever taught me sales. Design school does not teach you sales. Art therapy school does not teach you sales. Nobody teaches you sales. And so I thought I was running on luck. I walk into the office one day and there's this new man there. And he says, I hear a lot about you, Christi. And I'm new and I'm the new sales manager and everybody starts from ground zero with me. Everybody gets the same opportunity. And I thought that was my moment that luck ran out. I thought it's over. It's over. But he didn't let that happen. He sat me down. He had all my papers spread out on this table and he showed me what I was doing. He showed me data and numbers. And he showed me what I was doing really well. And he showed me areas I needed to improve. And it was this whole perspective that there's something behind what I'm doing. There's actually tangible things here. And it was such a huge mindset shift. He showed me intention. He showed me if I just make a couple little shifts, what I can actually create and what I can do for myself. And I took that very seriously. And I started making those changes. And one of the changes that I had to make was a coming to self moment because it was a very masculine process that they required us to do. And all it was, sometimes it's bigger in our head than it really is. All it required me to do is after every sales call, after I sold the job and was leaving, I had to ask the client for additional business. Do you have anybody that needs this service? Do you have anybody who needs this? I had to generate more business from that call. And I looked at that like they just spent large amounts of money. They just already bought something and it felt like the ick. And by then I had coaches and healers and practitioners. I had a lot of people in my life and I did a lot of work. And I realized I wasn't going to do it. I'm a quadruple Taurus. It's not happening. And so what I had to do is I had to go home. I went home and I sat with myself and I took a look at what they really wanted from this situation. And that's when I realized they just want me to generate a certain bit of additional business. And I was like, well, I'm going to do it my way. I can do this. I created a portfolio. I put clients before and after pictures in there with handwritten testimonials, and I started taking that out to every single job. And you know what happened from that? They invited me back. They wanted to be in that portfolio. They wanted other people to see their houses. These were women who just invested in their home and made it look beautiful, and they were proud of it. And one of those jobs invited me back out. When the installers left, it was very late at night. I got there late. She asked me if her sister and her neighbor could come over, and I was like, of course. And I ended up in her home at 11 o'clock at night with five of her sister, a neighbor and sister, five of her neighbors and sister. There's five additional people in that house. I ended up booking calls with them, and I sold every single one of those that week. What happened from this is I doubled everything except for the number of sales calls because I was maxed. I literally couldn't take more of those. Doubled my income, doubled my numbers. I went on that year to win number one in that strategy out of over 2,000 sales reps, 98% of which were men. And what I learned from that is there's no luck in sales. Sales is actually a skill and a strategy. And if I do it from my natural leadership style, I can create unlimited freedom for myself. When you have something to sell and you can sell it, your wealth, you can create anything from that. And that's what I want to teach you today. I did that. I switched that process that they wanted me to do from a masculine strategy to a feminine method. And I beat every other sales rep in the entire nation because I did it like a woman. And so what I want to give you now, and I want you to get out your pens and paper and I want you to write these down because these are 5 feminine shifts that you can make in your sales process. They're mindset shifts and tangible shifts that you can do and make today. Sales in the entire industry, even women, I'm trying to remember her name, Shelby. There's a woman out there teaching sales. She is cute as a button, powerful as ever, tons of confidence, and she is teaching sales. She teaches them to thousands of people every single day. She's very well known. She does a very, very good job. She teaches masculine strategies for sales. Does it work? Yes. Can you do it better? Yes, if you do it like a woman. And so even though for decades and still sales is taught through these masculine energy practices, pressure, control, urgency, that is not how women naturally lead. All of those women that she's teaching that to will succeed. They will kill it because women do things extraordinarily, but they will burn out. And that happened to me 7 years after 7 years into this design business, and I couldn't do it anymore. And it's a lot. And you don't have to. Sell like a woman means selling through connection, through your personal confidence in what you do and who you are, and authority, so that your retreat becomes the most aligned place to enroll your next 10 to 50K clients, premium clients. That's where we want to get you, premium clients. And the truth is that you're showing up. You're already leading. You're already creating transformation. But the part that nobody taught you, the part that even retreat leaders rarely think about is selling. And so I'm going to give you these sales shifts, masculine versus feminine energy in sales. And now we don't poo-poo the masculine. We have to have it. It's so important. What you want to look at with this is like a dance. You're going to do the tango, right? And so we love the masculine energy things. It gets us where we need to go. And I do notice women who can shift into masculine energy quickly do very, very well. But you have to do it both. You have to have both. So look at this like a dance. We're going to do the masculine, feminine energy and sales tango. Masculine energy is direct and linear. It is goal focused. It is strategy. It is confidence. It is urgency and control. Feminine energy is responsive and intuitive, emotionally connected. It's storytelling and resonance. It's receptivity and presence. It's listening and nurturing. And selling like a woman means that you lead with strategy and soul. You guide with confidence and connection. You ask clearly and you invite deeply. So I love these sales shifts, and I will share with you my favorites as I get through them. But we just touch on them, but I will share with you at the end how you can get a little deeper into all of these. But I want you to write them down so that we're planting the seed in your brain. Your unconscious mind will start to search for these and fill in what you need to make these shifts. So number 1, presence sells first. This is the authority piece. Your confidence, your energy, your clarity of who you are and what you're doing, walk into the room before you have ever made the offer. That energy, that presence, that authority sells first. So write that down. Presence sells first. Number 2, leadership. You never have to chase a client again. Lead. You guide the conversations with confidence and certainty. That is leadership. Number 3, sell the outcome, not all the details, not the information, not the 46 hours, the RV jaunt through the forest, nothing. You sell the outcome. People buy the transformation. Focus on the transformation, not the details, not the itinerary, not the list of what's included. Sell the outcome. You are selling transformation. Focus on the transformation that they get. Number 4 is one of my favorites. Price is a leadership moment. This is that moment of responsibility or highest level transformation that we talk about. Your price communicates structure, belief, clarity, and authority in your offer's value. So in that moment, when somebody says, how much is it? And you want to shrink away from that or justify it or explain it or discount it, you get to know and believe that you are going to stand so true and confident to who you are as a woman, as somebody who is invested in herself, her mindset, her knowledge, her education, her business. You have invested in every area and every aspect of your life. Stand so true in that leadership of who you are, knowing that this is your responsibility to hold that person in front of you to highest level transformation. Your price is a leadership moment. And number 5, this is one of my favorites, and you will hear me talk about it all the time if you are in our circle. You be a yes girl. You say yes first. If you're not fully and completely a yes to your own offer, with certainty before nobody else will. That energy is so loud. You have to say yes to your own self first. If anything's out of alignment in that, they'll feel it. And then you get to be a yes girl for everyone else. If you've studied NLP, you'll already know this. If not, it's one of the most important and powerful pieces. When you are making an offer or you are selling, the very first thing that happens is what everyone else in the room will do. People lead or people follow the leader, right? You need the yes girls in the room saying, yes, I'm in. Yes, yes, yes. Be a yes girl. Even if you're somewhere and even if you're not going to, you don't want to buy it maybe, or you need some think about it, you're at least yes on the thinking about it. You're yes on that she's doing a good job up there. Yes on you believe in what she did. Now, if you're fully and completely out of alignment, then just be quiet. Let her have her moment. But be a yes girl. For all the other women, be the yes girl. So these 5 shifts make selling inside of your retreat, selling out your retreat, selling in general, feel natural. Because you're already doing the part that matters most. You are creating transformation. And now you simply get to lead the sale the same way that you lead everything else in your life, with feminine presence, belief, emotional intelligence, and you. Now, I have a quiz that you can take, and I will share with you at the end how you can access the quiz and get this activation and all of those things. But I want to first share with you these superpowers that I'm telling you about. These are the archetypes. There are 3 archetypes. You will notice as I go through each one of those 3 that one of them stands out the most for you. This is your sales superpower. This is your natural leadership style and how people will buy from you the most authentically, naturally. Those questions that I asked in the beginning. Have you ever walked in a room and felt the whole energy shift and everybody was already or coming up to you in the room? Oh my gosh, I just had to talk to you. Or, oh, you have such a radiance, some sort of compliment, and you're always getting that. I'm going to share with you which one that is. Visionaries, storytellers. So notice which one you are. You have to be all of them, but one of them will supersede. One of them will be a superpower. So just notice, I'm going to give you the superpower qualities and the shadows. And I'm only going to give a couple just because of time, a couple of little points on each one. But I want you to listen for which one is your natural like leadership one. So the first one that we're going to talk about is the visionary leader. This is a woman who doesn't just sell, she sparks movements. The visionary leader sees the future before anybody else. She's driven by purpose and fueled by all of the possibilities. She doesn't just build businesses, she builds movements. This is a woman who, I call them the connectors. They have the communities and they mass communities is kind of how I see it. Her power lies in articulating a bold mission and inviting others to rise into it. She naturally attracts clients who want her to be a part of something bigger. They want to be a part of that. This is a woman whose certainty is contagious, and her zone of genius is casting vision and speaking life into other people's dreams. You will know that you're a visionary leader if you share a sentence with somebody and it changes them and they're using that and they already transitioned, right? Like, or they're using your language really quickly or any of those kind of things, visionary leaders. Now, here's what happens often with women who are visionary leaders. You stay in inspiration and you avoid structure. Structure for a visionary feels really restrictive or boring. You fear like too big, too bold, too much. If you ever felt like that, I'm too much, and you pull yourself down, you shrink yourself, that's a visionary leader. Over editing yourself, avoiding the ask, watching your message inspire, but nothing comes of it for you. This leads to burnout, overgiving, and misalignment. So your transformational shift that you can walk away with today is knowing that your structure, any structure that you build, because you are in a class right now that's teaching the 6-figure retreat system. So if you notice yourself resisting any of it or afraid of any of it, you're probably a visionary leader. Just know that the structure does not cage it. It doesn't cage your vision. It amplifies the fire. When you ground your vision into a focused offer, a strategic container, everything clicks for you. Sales becomes the bridge between your vision and the lives that you are meant to change. You never have to tone yourself down again. You need to turn it all the way on. So sales strategies that work really well for you are summits, retreats, you're in the right spot, and stages. So get on stages, movement-based launches, high impact, high ticket programs. So high ticket retreats will do very well with you, and purpose-led talks with clear call to actions. But what you need for some of your sales systems, crystal clear messaging, offer clarity and pricing strategy, a stage-ready brand presence, and stages are anywhere you are. Your social media, the room that you walk into, a summit, or a literal stage. You need feminine boundaries, strategic scaffolding that channels your vision. So those are what you need. And I'm going to give you an affirmation that you can walk away with today. So write this down. And everybody needs all of these. You will just have one that's your superpower. So your core affirmation is, I never have to shrink or dim myself. I direct my fire. My vision is the offer. So you will move from ungrounded dreamer to activated, visible, well-paid visionary leader. Magnetic storyteller. And Lenny, how are we doing on time?
You're good.
Okay. Magnetic storyteller. These are the magnetic storyteller in the transformational world is probably that's what most of you are, is the magnetic storyteller, because there's such a connection to the connection piece and how you connect and how you create transformation. This is a woman whose words do not just inspire, they convert. The magnetic storyteller leads with emotion, authenticity, and resonance. Her superpower is how she makes people feel. She builds trust faster than any pitch ever will. Your vulnerability becomes your value. Your story becomes the bridge between your audience's pain and their potential, their possibilities. That's that transformation. You, as a storyteller, you don't force connection. It's like you create belonging. Yet, the shadow pattern, when it comes to sales, is you hide from the ask. The hiding from, how many of you avoid giving your price? How many of you avoid that piece of the conversation altogether? Or you get a little worried about how to do it?
Let us know in the chat.
Yeah, put a 1. Shadow pattern, you fear rejection because your work is so deeply personal. You may find yourself oversharing without direction. So you're oversharing, but there's no direct focus on the sale. Visibility feels inconsistent because you wait for inspiration. How many of you wait for inspiration before you make a move? That is a typical storyteller, magnetic storyteller move. So often, as a storyteller, you often have the audience, but not the sale. So if you have a lot of people, oh my God, and they're not buying, that's this. So your transformational shift that you get to make for yourself is your story is not a detour, it is the strategy. So think of it like you're inviting them into the next chapter. And if you don't invite them into the next chapter, they're stuck at that chapter forever. But your story must meet structure in order to do that. So the shift is from expressive to effective, from sharing to selling, from vulnerability to value. Selling becomes the next chapter of her story. So your strategies that do really well for your business is story-based launches, DMs. Now, we're not talking cold, gross DMs. We're talking connected DMs, emotional connection, one-to-one conversations. So don't be afraid of those. Nurture-driven funnels. Speaking from the wound, you will often hear Lenny and I talk about don't do that. You can do it with structure and strategy because it ends with a win for you. And what you need right now to make these shifts is and to sell like a woman and to create your 6-figure retreat system, you need messaging structure. The headline, call to action, offer stack, that messaging structure. Confidence to ask for the sale. Visibility rhythm. No more hiding. Systems that turn your story into a sale. And clarity in your narrative arc. You're a storyteller. So get clear in that narrative arc that lands you the audience and the sale. So the core affirmation for you today, write this down. My voice is my invitation. My story moves people and it moves the sale. So you will move from hesitant sharer to empowered storyteller to consistent, high converting, feminine seller. Put a 1 in the chat if you're resonating with the visionary leader. Put a 2 in the chat if you're resonating with magnetic storyteller. And I'm going to start in with the radiant authority. You are the woman whose presence sells before you ever say a word. If you're the woman that walks in the room and the energy shifts, You're radiant authority. You stand out in the rooms. You're radiant authority. Your core identity is presence personified. This is a woman who leads with groundedness, with elegance, and certainty. People trust you instantly. And it has nothing to do with what you do. It is because of who you are. Your radiance. Your calm confidence creates safety, clarity, and direction. Premium clients are super drawn to your energy long before you ever make an offer. And yet, you often feel a deep need to prove yourself. You hide behind perfectionism. You hide behind professionalism. You undercharge. You overdeliver. And you avoid vulnerability. Oftentimes, the radiant authority fears being misunderstood. So she works harder instead of allowing herself to receive. And all that effort becomes an armor. And your transformational shift for you, your energy is already enough. You don't need more effort. You need deeper embodiment. The shift is from proving to receiving, from effort to grace, from performing to being. You become the invitation. And for you, as a radiant authority, your sales strategies that work really, really well for you in your business and your retreats is premium high ticket offers, presence first branding, direct high integrity sales conversations, and visual authority. Because we're in the online space so much. So your photos, your speaker reels, your stage presence has to translate on the online space. It is the most important piece for you. So what you need premium pricing confidence. You need energetic boundaries. You need embodied messaging. You got to get those support systems, CRM, automations, a team. You need brand expression that mirrors your level. So your core affirmation that you can take home, write this down. I don't need to convince. I just need to be. My presence leads. So your transformational outcome, from polished but proving to embodied and effortless to magnetic premium authority. So now you have met the visionary, the storyteller. Put number 3 if you resonate with the authority, radiant authority. Visionary, storyteller, radiant authority. Put those in the chat. Now you've been introduced to these. You're resonating with 1 or 2 or 3 of them. One of these is your sales identity. And when you sell from that identity with your retreat, your business, any of that, you never have to push. You never have to chase. You never have to force. Your audience will already feel you. They will already trust you. And your audience will rise with you. And that is why the highest ticket clients come from retreats, because the transformation is already happening in real time. And so, sales is a skill. And no one has taught women how to do it at the level you lead. Today, you saw what selling like a woman actually looks like. Presence, authority, and never pressure. You have identified your sales archetype, or you're processing in your mind to do so. so that you can stop forcing a style that does not fit you. So if you want to execute this and do it consistently in real conversations, there is a training. Sell Like a Woman, the high ticket activation, is a live activation class. And in this class, we are going to go into naming your price without explaining, holding the room after the ask, leading the decision, and how to enroll premium clients with your authority. And because you're in Lenny's class today, you get to have it for free. The code is retreat, and that will get you into the class, so you don't have to pay for it. So who here today wants to fill your retreats, your business offers, your anything that you're selling, and you want to do it how women do it best? This is a Sell Like a Woman activation where you learn exactly how to sell using your natural leadership style. You will up-level to premium audience, and because you're here, you get it complimentary. And I'm going to just give you 4 little bullet points. If you want to discover the language, somebody in here said, where do you find them? It starts with not only your presence and your authority, but the language that you're naturally using. Language that matches your archetype, your natural leadership style. How to lead sales conversations and never have to worry about pressure or any of the icks. Just being you. And how to enroll high ticket premium clients inside of your retreat. How to carry feminine leadership into every sales moment so that it feels natural, it feels intuitive, and it results in clients, revenue, opportunities, and growth. And how to sell premium offers without ever chasing or convincing or worrying about the ick. This masterclass will change the way you sell, the way you sell. And the way that you lead your retreat will also change. And it is the most beautiful thing. I'm going to put the link in the chat, and you guys can sign up for that class. It is tomorrow. And if you can't make it tomorrow, sign up anyway, and I'll add you to the next one. Lenny's my link person. She always has my links. Okay, I have it.
Well, Christi, thank you so much for coming and sharing all your knowledge with us.
Yes, my pleasure.
And I mean, it's always a pleasure to have this as part of the Sold Out and Profitable Retreats Masterclass. Yay! So make sure you go sign up. You have the code retreat. So the class is for free for you. So that's a gift from Christi to all of you. Because when you learn how to sell like a woman, everything changes. Everything changes. Thank you for listening to our guest speaker, Christi Kendall, that came into the Sold Out and Profitable Retreats Masterclass. If you're interested to join our next session, you have the links in the show notes, as well as the links to join the Feminine Sales Activation with Christi Kendall. I can't wait to hear from you next week. And if you found this episode useful for you, make sure you share it with someone else who can benefit from it. Until next time.